All right.
You're on camera now.
Woo. I better take my glasses off then.
Yeah.
So what I'd like you to help me with as well is that transposing alone together
Sure.
as well. I started it and I'd like to do that one. So
Okay. What key did you transpose it into, or did you want to transpose it into, or do you know?
G.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear.
I'm sorry, G.
G. Okay.
Although G minor. You told me G minor, I think.
Uh-huh. And you listened to me?
And I listened. Absolutely.
Wow, I'm impressed. So I'll get it up here. But alone together is in the original key is in D minor.
That's right.
Yeah. So here we have our sheet music.
If you wanted to hear me play those other things, I will.
Yeah. No, that's fine. Let's start on this. So did you try transposing it yet, or do you just want to start it? You did. Okay.
I did, but I don't know whether I did very well. I had G minor for the first chord.
When I transpose anything, the best thing to do is transpose the bass line.
Okay.
Just one note, right? I mean, and so you get the root movement, because without the root movement, everything gets very confusing.
Okay.
But you want to see in the key of D minor, right?
G minor.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, the original key is D, but G doesn't matter really. You're in a minor key, right? And it's 2-5-1 in whatever key you're in the minor key. So but you're up of it's so in the key of G minor, what chords would you play, or what would be the bass notes? The first chord, of course, would be what?
G.
G, absolutely, yeah. And then the next measure?
A.
Yep. Up to
D,
and then back to
G.
Right. And then the next two measures are the same: A, D, G. Right.
Oh, so I was right. Okay. Well, that's encouraging.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Just start like that. Then you have the next two chords, or the next part of the song, is also a 2-5-1. Right. It's a 2-5. Do you see that 2-5-1 there?
Hang on a second.
I have it on my screen here.
Right. Yes.
So you have a 2-5-1. It's in this key, in the key of D minor. It's in G, but the relationship is it's up a fourth. So so in this case, up a fourth from G would be what note?
C.
Yeah. So you'd have a 2-5-1 in the key of C minor.
Yeah, and I put that here.
Great. Okay. Fantastic. So you got D, G, C.
Okay. Are you there?
Yep, I am.
Oh, sorry. I'm so used to you disappearing that I was worried.
Now I'm here.
Are you're waiting for me to tell you the next one, are you?
Yeah. So okay. So yeah. So then, we've done the first 8 measures basically. Now that measure 9, what's going to happen there?
I'm going to.
What chord are you going to play in the key of G?
E minor.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Oh gosh, I'm impressed with myself suddenly.
Yeah. I mean, everything. Another way to think of it, everything's going up a fourth.
Right. Okay.
So E minor, and the next chord would be
D.
No.
there you are. So I went wrong. E minor. So you say going up a fourth, so it's going to be A.
Yeah, and that's also a 2-5. Do you see that as a 2-5?
Yes, I do. Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Right. But let's, we should write some of this in as we're transposing. So you have E. Oops, what's going on here? Something happened with. There we go. Okay. All right. So E minor, E minor 7, A7. That's the transposed chords, and I'll go back also and write in. We're in G minor. It's G minor.
I mean, I certainly, since being with you, I now, I can see myself getting more comfortable with the, sometimes though I do cheat with, and instead of, I mean, I see where that diminished is, but really I'm relying sometimes on my ear.
Yeah.
Oops. I know that's good.
And there's nothing wrong with, relying on your ear, and, in a sense, it's all by ear, really, isn't it? Because it's all music, but, just writing some notes there. And then in the next line here, we had D minor 7, 5, 5, and G7, and C minor 7. So there's our chords. Okay. And then you have another. Then finally, you have another 2-5-1, right? Which is here. Whoop. That's okay. Good. Oh. That really annoys me. Anyway, there's a 2-5-1. I have no idea what's going on here. Oops. Yeah. So there's our 2-5-1 in F.
Right.
Right. Okay. So what chords do you have there?
Hang on a second. What have I got here? Yeah, I think this is where I went wrong though. But
so up a fourth from G.
Yeah. So it should be C7. Yeah.
Not C7.
C minor 7.
C minor 7. Right. 2. 2-5-1.
Oh. Oh gosh. To F.
Yeah, F7. Yeah, that's a 5 chord, and then 1 is.
2, 5. I'm making that B. That can't be right.
You're close.
B flat.
B flat. Yeah. B flat. Major 7. Let's say, and then B flat 7. Right, because that's going to be the same. Yeah. Okay. I wrote major. There's no such thing as a major 7 chord. Oh.
There's no such thing as a major 7?
No, there is. There's no such thing as a major 7 chord.
Oh, a major.
Yeah, with an N. So I don't know how I managed that. But C minor 7, F7, B flat, H7, and then B flat 7. Okay, and then what happens after that?
Oh gosh.
So again, upper fourth from E.
It's A. A flat? No, A.
Yeah, A. Upper fourth music A. So A minor 7, flat 5.
Okay.
And then next chord is D7.
Okay.
And so that's a 2-5 as well. Right, A minor 7. That's a 2. That's a A minor 7, flat 5. D7 is a 2-5 in what key?
Can I move myself here? No. How can I do that? Can't do that.
What's that?
I was trying to move my picture here.
Oh, you can move it.
I can?
You're talking about the image on the screen of
Yeah. Well,
yeah, you can, of our video conference. Yeah, you can grab the black bar on top and move it around. Like any window.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
You can move it around and change the way it looks and so on.
well, I don't want to mess things up. And there you are. Now I've got rid of me. You can't see me, but I can see.
Yes,
Hey.
I think if it's the same as it is on my screen, you should have a choice. So you can look at one person at a time, or you can look at two people at a time.
Right.
And you can also move the window around the screen.
I see what you're saying.
In case it's blocking the sheet music or certain part
Right.
of it. Move it around.
Yeah, well, I was trying to do that. It wouldn't do it for me. Well, don't worry. I'll work around that.
Yeah. So just to make sure you understand, so we're back. Third line of music: A minor 7, flat 5, D7. That's a 2-5 in what key?
A 2-5 in G.
G minor. That's what gets you back to the top.
Okay. Oh, it's sinking in little by little.
And so you're in the key G minor, okay, and G minor is the one chord in the key of G, so that's the tonic, and then you're going to the 4 chord, the subdominant, one of the primary chords, which is very common in music, and then you have this little deceptive cadence here. E minor 7, A7 is a 2-5 in what key?
Give me that again.
The third line of music, first measure. E minor 7, A7 is a 2-5 in what key?
G. Oh. G, surely.
No, E minor 7, A7. Right here, third line of music, first measure.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see that there. Okay. D.
D, yeah. It's kind of a precursor to that, to our it's a foreshadowing of the modulation that's going to take place later on.
Okay. I love that word, modulation.
I'm glad you do. Yeah, so oh wait, just a moment. I said that incorrectly. That was really not correct. I'm not transposing this properly. So ultimately, we're going to go the first fourth line of music, first measure. What if you go up a fourth? What do you get?
G.
G, yeah, it's G major 7. So I was giving you some erroneous information.
I understand.
Yeah. So for the first time, we have a 2-5, 2-5-1 in the key G minor, and then we have a 2-5, which ends up going to the major key.
Okay.
Yeah. You keep in mind, usually, there's two kinds of 2-5-1s. There's the kinds that are just a minor 7. That's the 2 chord, right, in a major key. And then you have the 2 chord in a minor key, which has the flatted 5.
Okay.
You understand the difference?
I do.
Okay. So this is a bit of it's a bit of a deceptive cadence but it's still, nevertheless, it's still going to the G major ultimately.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
First, here it goes to the minor, and then here it goes to the major.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to save that. Great. Okay, and we have a 2-5 going. We have a 2-5-1 that goes to the key of B flat.
Mm-hmm.
How does, I'll give you a hint, but how does B flat major relate to G minor?
It's the third.
Yeah, it's a relative minor.
Okay, of course.
It's the relative minor, and you're right. It's the 3 chord. It's the 3 chord in the key of G minor, but it's this relative minor relationship.
Okay.
So these are all really common musical relationships that we just we see all the time. We're going to the 1 chord, right? It's the 1 chord, and then we go into the 4 chord, right? And ultimately, what would the 5 chord is what? In the key of G minor.
The 5 chord in the key of G minor is D.
Yeah, D. Here's our 2. Here's our 2-5 there, right?
Right.
But that's our thinking in just in terms of simple chords. So that's our 5. That's our 5 chord. That's our dominant chord. Those are the primary chords. Okay. So those are the most important chords in the song. So when you're transposing, think simply. Think in terms of simple primary chords, which is really what you're dealing with. 1, 4, 5 in the key of, in this case, in the key of G minor. And there is an instance when you're going to the relative major, you're going to the key of B flat major. Okay. So let's just play a little game here and just say, suppose you're going to transpose this to the key of C. Okay, key of C minor. What would be the first chord?
C.
C minor. What would be the 4 chord?
F.
F minor. And the 5 chord would be?
G.
G7. G7, right? So 1, 4, 5. And then the relative major of C minor is what chord?
The relative major of...
In other words, what key shares the key signature with C minor?
E flat?
Yes, E flat. So if you know those 4 chords, you've transposed the song.
I see.
See?
I see.
Okay.
Right.
They're put together in a novel way, and you have to time them correctly, but that's really all the information you need to know. That's the stuff we learned when we were kids, right?
Okay.
Those are the primary chords, and then relative major. Just do that on the piano. C minor, F minor.
Isn't that minor?
Yeah, that's C minor, not F minor.
You want F minor?
Yeah, 4 chord.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, 5 chord G.
Sorry. What did you say again?
Yeah, we're doing the primary chords in the key of C minor. We're transposing this to C minor. So C minor, F minor, G major, minor. It's major. Yeah, right. And that would be those would be the chords you'd need to know if you're transposing it to C minor.
Okay.
Plus, there's one more, E flat. Right. Yeah. Okay. Those are the basic chords in the key of C minor. In the key of G, they're G minor, C minor, D. Just do that. Minor.
What did you say?
It's 1, 4, 5 in the key of G minor. Minor.
Sorry, what am I doing here?
1, 4, 5 in the key of G minor. Yeah. Right.
way do you want me to go?
The 1 chord is G minor, the 4 chord is C minor, and the 5 chord is D.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. You understand what we did?
Yeah, I think so.
Those are the primary chords in the key of G minor. Can you play the G minor scale?
Yeah. Oh.
It's major. Yeah, okay. So that's the chords, and then the relative major, which is B flat.
So what did you just did the cadence there, right?
Yeah, that's the basic chords in the song when you transpose it.
Is that what you did?
I played the first chord, G minor in root position. I played the 4 chord in second inversion, G, C, E flat. And I played the 5 chord in first inversion, F sharp, A, D. You don't have to do it that way, but it's more convenient. Right.
Yeah, but I'm used to doing that. I'm used to that little exercise, if you like. But now it makes more sense now with you.
Yeah. It's really, the whole thing is what are we doing here? Alone together, da 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 da, da 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 da, and then alone together, da 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 da, da 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 da, and then C minor, da 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 da.
Okay.
That's really the basic chords. Again,
Okay.
we have this. The only thing that doesn't fit into the 1-4-5 neatly is this unusual deceptive cadence we have. We have down. We have down here. Right. That when you see E minor 7, A7, you're expecting it to go to what key?
D.
D, yeah. And you know, do we go to D in the key of G minor?
No.
No. No. It's kind of a curveball, but it's not that far afield because D in the key of G, D is the 5.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's pretty common. In most music, it's pretty common, whatever key you happen to be in, it's common to modulate up or down a fifth, but it's common to go to the fifth. It just so happens that we don't do that in this song.
Okay.
At least not so far, but
right.
and that's what can make it a little confusing. But you have to sort out the wheat from the chaff, I mean that those chords are kind of, I mean they are 2-5, but I'm going to do this instead because they're kind of an exception to the rule.
Right.
That's your little deceptive cadence. So again, when you're thinking of the tune, what chords are you really thinking of? You're thinking of basically just 3 chords, and maybe 4, but for the most part, it's 1-4-5 in whatever minor key that you're in.
Okay.
That's really all it is. It's just that the chords are embellished. Well, how are they embellished? Well, they're embellished because you're using, so this song starts out with G minor, A minor 7, D7, goes back to
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Sorry, where are we again?
Beginning the music.
Right.
G minor is the first chord. Second
Right.
measure is A minor 7, D7. We're in the key of G minor now. So the next
Right.
measure, of course, would be what? Third measure.
Oh no, I've lost you again. Hang on a second.
What would the chord be in the third measure?
It'll be G.
Sure, it goes back to G. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I just didn't write it in, but it goes back to G minor. And then the same thing again. It just repeats A minor 7, flat 5, D7. Okay, just the same stuff. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. But this is same, 2-5-1. That's just 2-5-1. Okay. But so the one chord is embellished. How is it embellished? Well, at least it's embellished with the 5 chord. D7 G.
Right. Where are you? Where are you now?
Can you see my cursor? Can you see me moving?
Oh yeah, I can now. Now
Right.
I
So the D. My point is the D is an outgrowth of the G.
okay.
Okay, it's just an ornamentation. Instead of 1, it's 1-5-1.
Right.
Okay, so it's just 1-5-1-5-1, and the A is an outgrowth of the D. So it's 2-5-2-5-1. But the basic chord is the G.
Okay.
If you only played G minor throughout this whole thing, you would be fine. There'd be really, there'd be no problem. Alone together, da 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 da, da 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 da, and then change the chord, da 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 da. Right.
Right. I got you.
It's really just 2 chords.
Right.
So don't. It's easier than you think. And that's what I'm saying. When you transpose something, you try to do it in stages. So you start with the root. Okay,
Right.
it's one note, and you look at the intervallic movement, but then you start to look at how the chords function, which ones are important, which ones are the most important, and which ones are the least important. Well, you can pretty much bet, in almost every piece of music you play, the primary chords are going to be the most important.
Right.
1 and 5 for sure, and then 4, and then maybe something else. Again, it's not uncommon to go to a relative major or go up a 4th or down a 5th, but
okay.
those are the important. There's really only 3 important chords, maybe 4.
Yeah, it's sinking in much more.
Yeah. You could certainly transpose this mechanically, and I'm sure you do it fine. But I just want to make sure you kind of understand what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And this is a little 2-5 here. This in the third line, first measure at B minor 7 E7, transposed as E minor 7 A7. But the most important chord of the 2 chords is which chord?
No, I don't see where you are. Where are you?
I'm at the third line of music, first measure, E minor 7 A7.
Okay.
Deceptive cadence. And
okay.
So of those 2 chords, which is the most important?
Hang on. E.
No.
No.
It's always the dominant chord.
Okay.
The dominant chord is always the most important. It functions. The dominant chords almost always function as dominant chords, as 5 chords. It's A7 is the 5 chord of what key?
D.
D. D is what scale degree in the key of G?
Fifth.
Yeah, it's called a secondary dominant, but it's 5 of 5 is what it is. It's 5 of 5.
Okay.
We're not going to D though. we're not, again, we're transposing this, but we're not, in the key of D minor, in the original key, that those chords would B minor 7, E7. E7 would suggest we're going to what key?
Oh gosh.
E would be the 5 of what key?
G of A.
A, but we're not going to A.
Right.
I mean, what's happening is that it's kind of deceiving us that we're going to another key. We're not really, but it's in some ways it is intimating that we are, in some ways it's functioning as a 2 chord. In some ways it's functioning to get us to hear the A7, the 5 chord.
Right.
So there's 2 ways to kind of hear it. But if you could only play one of those chords, the E chord would be the most important.
Okay.
Or in the key of G minor, it would be the A chord. But so you could think of it. So the most important chords, again, in the key of G minor, C minor, D major. We in agreement?
Right.
Okay. The other chords that are important to make it come out right, possibly this A chord. Okay. In the key of G, A is what scale degree?
2.
Sometimes you can have a 2 as a major chord. It's possible. It's an artificial chord. Usually we think of 2 as either a minor chord or a diminished chord, depending whether it's in the major or minor key. But it can function as 2. And then, 1, 1, 2, 5, 1. And the relative major, which is the B flat chord.
Were you asking me something there?
Yeah, no, I just want to make sure that those are the chords that are
Right.
most important. The G minor, C minor, the D, and then possibly B flat and A.
Okay.
Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 chords.
Okay.
Right. If you look at the roots of those chords, G, A, B flat, C, D, they're the first 5 notes of the G minor scale.
Right.
So you could distill the whole song down to the first 5 notes of the scale.
Okay. Interesting.
In the key of D, D, F, D, E, F, G, A, D minor, E major, F major, G minor, A major.
Right.
That's the whole song.
Right.
And then we do, I guess we could do, well, that's the F. And then that's really the whole song. Again, some of these chords are embellished, right? So the relative major in the key of the original key, which is D minor, relative major is F. Well, that's embellished. How? With a 2-5-1. You have the C7 is the 5 of F, and G minor is the 2 of F.
Okay.
Okay. So, but it's still, those chords are an outgrowth of the F chord. So again, when you're transposing, I wouldn't try to do all the chords at once necessarily. I would just try to do the ones that, or try to find the ones that are the most important. But it's interesting how they play this game. They play this little game where they embellish that F chord, and then they make it into dominant. That's a little deceptive right there. I mean, F7, they turn it into, in the key of D minor, they turn it into F7. F7 implies that you're going to go to probably to the key of B flat, but it doesn't do that. It just moves by half step. So going back to like we were transposing to the key of C minor, C minor, D major, E major, excuse me, C minor, D major, E major, F minor, G major. Those would be the 5 basic chords that we would need in the key of C minor.
Okay.
Do you see how I got those chords?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's play another game. Let's do it. Let's pretend we're transposing to the key of A minor. Okay. Okay. So first 5 notes of the A minor scale are?
A, B, C.
First 5 notes.
Oh, first 5 notes. A, B, C, D, E.
A, B, C, D, E. Okay. So we need the primary chords in the key of A minor. What are the primary chords?
A
minor.
D, oh, sorry. A minor.
Yep.
D and E.
D minor and E major.
Okay.
Because we're in a minor key.
Okay.
Yeah, so 1 chord is minor, 4 chord is minor, 5 chord is major. Okay. So we're starting out with those. Okay. And now we need to ascribe chords to the other 2 notes in the scale that we skipped over. The second note of the scale, we want a major chord, B. And the third note of the scale, we also want a major chord, C.
Okay.
So if you know those 5 chords, you can transpose the song.
I see.
What's that?
Yes,
Da da dee da da dee da 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 da, D minor da 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 da, B major D da da, C major da 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 E. That's pretty much it. Da 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 da. Ba 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 ba. Da 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 dee da da da. Da, 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 da.
interesting.
You get by with that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it finally went to the first ending, when it finally went to the first ending, you wouldn't go to a minor chord, you'd go to a major chord. So right, so you'd play a major chord.
Right. Okay. I'm gonna. This is pushing me forward, absolutely. To.
It's an interesting song because first you think it's in a minor key. It isn't a minor key, but then it ends up going to it's called a parallel major.
Okay.
Let's try another key. What if you did it? What if you had to transpose it to the key of E minor? What are the primary chords in the key of E minor?
E, A.
But tell me whether they're major or minor chords. It's very important.
Okay. E minor.
Right.
A major.
No.
Woo!
Well, you don't have many choices, so.
A minor.
A minor, yeah. Because we're in a minor key. The 4 chord's always minor.
Okay.
And then.
Well, it's B, but
B. B what?
Minor.
Major. The 5 chord's always major.
Okay.
In any key. I mean, these are really fundamental things you have to start to, come to terms with.
Yeah.
E minor, 1, A minor, 4, B major, 5.
Okay, so I thought the fourth note and the fifth note of a key was always major.
We're in a minor key.
Okay, all right, gotcha.
Yeah. Go ahead and play those on the piano. E minor.
Yeah, I've got to think about it.
Just an E minor triad, E, G, B. Then A minor. Right? B major. B, D sharp, F sharp.
Hang on.
Yep. Okay. Those are the primary chords in the key of E minor.
Okay.
Okay. Now play them using voice leading. Now play them using inversions. So E minor root position, E, G, B. A minor second inversion, E, A, C. Right, back to E minor, E, G, B. Good, now D sharp, F sharp, B. That's first inversion, B. F sharp. D sharp, F sharp, B. Yeah. D sharp, F sharp, B. Right, and back to E minor. Good, and play the E minor scale. Right, okay. That's which minor scale?
E.
Yeah, I know, it's E minor, but there's three kinds of minor scales. Do you remember which kind it is?
Oh gosh. Harmonic.
Yes, absolutely. How come?
You're really testing me today. I really don't know the answer to that.
Well, what are the other two kinds of minor scales?
Yeah, I don't know them very well.
So the scale, the harmonic minor scale, okay, is what's comes under the heading of an artificial scale.
Okay.
And there's an artificiality in it, but the opposite of artificial is natural. So there's a natural minor scale, which lacks the artificiality, right? But the artificiality that you played a note in the scale that is not in the key signature.
Okay.
And that's why it's an harmonic minor scale. Okay. And there's one specific note. What do you know the key signature of E minor?
Oh gosh.
Do you know the relative major?
Well, it must be C.
No. The relative major of E? You went the wrong direction.
Okay, it's G.
G, yeah. Key signature of G is?
F sharp.
Yes, one sharp, that's correct. So there's only one sharp in the key of E minor. E minor and G major share the same key signature. If you play the same scale, okay, with only an F sharp, you'll end up with an E natural minor scale. Right? That's D natural ended. If you play the scale you just played, which is the harmonic minor scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You've raised the 7th degree of the scale a half step.
Okay.
Okay. You do that for the single express purpose of justifying the dominant chord, the major chord. You could not create a B major chord without that D sharp. You'd have a B minor chord.
Okay.
Which would not be Western music.
Okay.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
It's an artificial scale. It's a theoretic scale. It's only there for the purposes of creating the cadence, and it's not in the key signature. It's written as an accidental, which is a clue. If you're playing a piece of music and you're not sure whether you're in a major or minor key, and you look for accidentals. Mm-hmm. In this case, you'd look for the D sharp. But that's the only reason why. I mean, it is possible to make music with an harmonic minor scale, but it's going to sound peculiar because it's going to have this Middle Eastern sound to it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna. I mean, it's not. It's a. And that's playing the scale kind of in a reframed, sort of basing it on the 5th degree of the scale, but we don't use that scale to make music. What we
Right.
do use, if we want to make melodies, we use another type of artificial scale to make melodies, and it's named for that purpose. It's called a melodic minor scale. And the melodic minor scale has an additional note that we change. We also, in addition to raising the 7th degree of the scale, we also raise the 6th degree of the scale.
Okay.
Right? That's only going up.
Okay.
Going down, we revert back to the natural minor.
Okay. Yeah, I was having problems with learning. I don't know whether it was that one. There's another one though, that you go up one way and come down the other way, or is that it?
That's it. That's the only one. Yeah. So the 3 minor scales. There's natural minor, and in this case, by natural, usually when we use the word natural, we mean not sharp or flat. In this case, we just mean that the integrity of the notes as compared to its relative major is unchanged. It's also referred to as an Aeolian mode, but the notes are exactly the same as its relative major scale, which is G major. Okay, they're completely the same. Of course, it has a sharp in it. It has an F sharp, but however, we don't make music with a natural minor scale because it lacks what we call a leading tone. The 7th and 8th degree of the scale are a whole step apart. And to make music in Western music, we need the half step. We need that referred to the 7th degree as a leading tone. That's why we don't use it.
Okay.
But it's easy to figure out or easier to figure out the other minor scales once you know your major scale, right? You know your major scale, okay? Then you kind of know your natural minor scale because it's basically the same notes. And then from there, you make a couple little changes and you get your harmonic or your natural minor scale.
Okay.
Another way to think of the natural minor scale, maybe an easier way to think of it, is think of it as an E major scale. Play an E major scale. Right. Now play the exact same scale, but lower the 3rd degree, a half step. You didn't play the exact same notes.
I did?
You did not.
Oh, I didn't. So
play an E major scale, but only lower the 3rd degree.
okay.
See?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's exactly the same notes as the E melodic minor.
Okay. Interesting.
Anyway, what we're after is, 1, 4. And then, so in the key of E, the 2 chord, the second note of the scale is what?
F sharp.
F sharp. In this case, we'd want a major chord. And then the 3 chord, we're going to want a major chord. And then eventually it'll go to the 5. Da-da, but da 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 dee da 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 da. And the 2 chord da 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 da. Can you hear the tune?
Right.
I mean, yes. I'm singing it. I'm doing a bad job singing it, but that's the basic song. That's really the whole song. Those 5 chords: E minor, A minor, F sharp major, G major, and then B major. So I have the primary chords: E minor, A minor, B major, and then I have these 2 other chords. They're both major chords. One is built on the 2nd degree of the scale, F sharp major. The other one is built on the 3rd degree of the minor scale, G major.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I'm figuring it out.
Right. Right.
Okay. And the other chords I can fill in later. You know,
Right.
they're incidental.
Mm-hmm.
And then ultimately, when I get to the first ending or the second ending, if I'm in a key of E minor, I have to play E major, right?
Right. Right.
Okay. So going back to the key of G minor, okay, what are the chords you'd have to play? And we circled them in the music.
G and
G what?
pardon?
G what?
Oh, I'm sorry. G minor 7.
Yeah, G minor 7 or G minor. G minor is fine. That's enough information. And I'll tell you why that's enough information. You know, a basic triad is all you need. But
Okay.
guess what? A lot of times the melody notes are going to, and they're going to be chord notes. I mean, that's why the melody sounds good. So if you look at the melody notes are the root and third of the chord. Those are the notes of the chord, other than the A, which is the passing tone. But G, B flat, D, and the key of G minor are really the notes of the chord. So you have G minor, okay, then that's 1. Then you have the 4 chord, which is
C
minor.
C minor.
And then you have the 5 chord, which is
I want to say D minor.
D7.
Oh,
major. The 5 chord's always major.
Okay, why can't I get that in my head?
I don't know. You will. And then there are 2 other chords. There's the 2 chord, okay, which is going to be A major or A7, but A. And then the 3 chord, which is going to be
B.
B flat.
B flat, okay.
Yeah, remember one?
Of course.
Yeah. Okay, now we haven't gotten to the melody very much right now, but no, that's fine.
No, but I can see where it's going. I mean, you know, I understand what you're doing.
I'm glad someone does. I'm going to clear that for a moment. And so now we didn't talk about the second half of the song, the bridge.
Right.
But there's not very much to it. I mean, it's because there's similar chords to what we had already discussed. Yeah, this chord is smudged out a little bit, but it's 2 5 1s. You know.
Oh yeah.
Right, and then we have another. Oh, I hate when that happens. I don't know. I picked this silly thing here. I don't know what this thing is. You have another 2 5 1 here, and then you're back to the top again, back to your D minor. But so 2 5. The most important chord here is the 4 chord, G minor, and the most important chord here is the F chord. Okay, of course we're in the original key now. We're in the key of D.
Right.
Okay, so if we're transposing it, the 4 chord is going to be C minor, and the relative major is going to be the B flat. I mean, those are really the 2 important chords.
Right.
So if I just had to play one chord, I would play the 4 chord, right? Or probably, I mean, the chord that precedes it, the five of four, the basic chord is G7. Is that what you had?
I didn't get that far, actually.
Okay. But this is 5 of 4. You understand why I'm calling it 5 of 4? Oops. 5 of.
It's I think I do.
Yeah.
Well, it is what it is, right? It's the.
It is what it is. It is what it is.
It's the.
That is the expression of our generation.
It's the.
That concept there, that 5 of 4, that's secondary.
But what you're telling me is that it's hang on a sec. It's oh gosh, now I've lost my train of thought.
It's what we refer to as a secondary dominant chord, but so again, it's kind of a hierarchy. The most important chord is the G, is in the original key it's G, and in G minor it's C, but the most important chord is the 4 chord. Okay. The 4 chord's being embellished. How is it embellished? Well, it's most commonly embellished by using the dominant chord in that key. I mean, that's the most fundamental aspect, most fundamental harmonic relationship in all of music. 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. So in this case, C minor is being embellished by the 5, and the 5 chord is being embellished by the 2 chord.
Okay.
It's being kind of extended and softened in a way, but it's being extended by the two chord in the key of C minor is D minor 7 flat 5, right? D minor 7 flat 5. I didn't write it in, but just then, but that's the chord. Da da. Let's see. That's recorded in 2, 5, 1. So.
Yeah, I learned all those cadences, but I learned them. What's the word? Describe them.
Mechanically.
Pardon?
Mechanically.
Mechanically. That's right. Yeah. Not really thinking what they really were, or not being taught that.
Yeah, and that's how we all learned them. We all learned them mechanically. So,
yeah.
So that's the advantage. When you study as an adult, you can start to sort of understand what's going on, and it sort of gets worse before it gets better.
Well, this has been quite a learning lesson for me.
Those are the best kinds of lessons.
Pardon?
Those are the best kind. The learning lessons.
Every lesson is good, but this has really had me thinking. So
the moral of the story is, work on your cadences, work on the primary chords, work on just 1, 4, 5, and get those neurons firing so you can key of C minor, C F G, key of D minor, D G A, whatever. Just get those 1, 4, 5 relationships. Right. As and because you'll use them, you really will. It's right. Just that it gets a little fogged over when you start. It's not just 1, 4, 5, right? It's 5 of 4, or 5 of 5, and then it's not just 5 of 5. It's 2, 5 of 4, or 2, 5 of 5, right? Or 2, So there's this.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's like a Rubik cube.
It's like a Rubik. Well, it's like something. It's like a hall of mirrors, or. It's like a Jerry Lewis movie.
Gosh, is he still alive?
Well, I mean, I artistically, or how are you referring?
Still breathing.
I believe he still has brainwave function.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've tested him. I don't know if he's doing telethons anymore.
Oh no, it's not.
His
What about Vera Lynn turning 100? You know Vera Lynn.
I don't know Vera Lynn.
You know Vera Lynn? Yes, you do. If I sing to you, there'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover.
And I know the song,
Well,
but I didn't. You know, I mean,
she was the forces sweetheart during World War II.
Okay.
And for England.
That's why I don't know.
Yeah, but I think they knew her over here because of the Americans being in England. You know?
Yeah, right.
So anyway, she just turned 100. She went to school with my mother, actually.
Wow.
And I never thought much of her voice, but you know, here I go again with my critiquing.
Yeah. Well, she certainly got good genes. You can't argue with that.
Yeah, and you know, she resonated with, you know, a lot of being a star is being at the right place at the right time, right? Really.
Yeah.
You know, it's not always. I'm not saying she's not talented. You know,
Right.
It's a harsher voice, but you know, I sound horrible now. What I'm saying, you know, I admire what she did, and good for her, you know. But well.
Okay. Well, then I will excuse myself. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much, Jonathan.
Thank you, and I'll send you the film and the corresponding screenshots that go with that.
Yeah, that's great. That's super. And I'm going to try and get my computer looked at so that we got a better picture.
But you're using your iPad now?
Yes.
Yeah, look, works great.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it works fantastic. It's got got a good picture and good audio, so you know.
All right, very good. Yeah, I can hear you well. Yeah, but actually, come to think of it, I can hear you better than I did on the computer.
You might. It might have a better camera, and you know. Yeah. All righty.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
See you in 2 weeks. Take care.
And you.
Bye-bye.